Well, we're playing a much tougher opponent this week in Emporia State. I kind of compare the MIAA preseason non-conference games to the NFL. You know, they have the preseason games and they get into the regular season, the same thing with us. And now all the games are going to be much more difficult, and we're going to play a better opponent in week 3 than what we played in week 1 and week 2, so we've got to play better.
Well, we saw a lot of improvement from week 1 to week 2. What areas need to get better heading into conference play?
Oh, there's just a lot of different things. We're still not tackling as well as we need to defensively. We cut our missed tackles down, but we need to cut that down again. We need to do a better job in our punt block, punt return game. We've had some good plays on there, but not as many, and I'd like to see us make 2 or 3 big plays in the kicking game. We've come really close in the first couple of weeks, but we need to make a couple more.
Emporia State, the opponent on Saturday, 1 o'clock kick, Welch Field at Jones Stadium out there in Emporia, Kansas, a ball game you can catch on the UCM Sports Radio Network beginning at 11:40. There you see the record, Coach, 1-1 for the Hornets. But they've got some talent. I know you've been impressed with the guys they've recruited and brought in, and a very formidable opponent on their home field on Saturday.
Yes, exactly right. They played a very tough opponent in week 2 in Augustana, opening up a brand new stadium on the road, and Augustana is a fine team. Went 8-4 last year and defeated Missouri Western in the Mineral Water Bowl. So this is going to be a tough ball game. They've got a lot of talent. They've got kids from all over the Midwest that play for them, and you know, we're going to have to make that same improvement that we made from week 1 to week 2. We've got to make that from week 2 to week 3.
Well, you know, the first 2 weeks, our opponents really wanted to wing the ball around the yard, a lot of passing. It seems to me with a young man named Ladarian Page in the Hornet backfield, a guy that started his career at Missouri Western, was an all-league selection as a freshman, had to transfer to Hutch Junior College, was an All-American, and now transfers to Emporia State. They're going to be wanting to run the football, and we're going to see a lot more run than we have the first 2 weeks.
Yes, we will. They would like to run the football. They had 399 yards rushing in their first ball game, which I think was the most they'd had in 10, 15 years in one ball game. Ladarian certainly is very dangerous. He's one of those guys, you bottle him up and he pops the ball wide. And second play of the game against Augustana, they had all the gaps filled inside. And one of the guys that needed to play with leverage on the outside, had to peek in there and see what was going on. He broke it outside for 68 yards. So you've got to do a really good job of keeping him between the tackles, playing with great leverage, and playing disciplined, gap-sound defense.
Obviously, you've passed the ball very well. You lead the MIAA in passing. Eric's thrown 8 TDs, no interceptions. But as you look at this Hornet team, they've got a very good veteran secondary. So that'll be an interesting test and an interesting area to watch in this game.
Got some very good kids back there in the secondary. They do a good job of mixing up their coverages, and that's going to be a heck of a battle between our wide receivers, offensive line, being able to throw the ball downfield against that veteran secondary.
We're going to spotlight Bobby Guillory in a moment. He could be an X factor in the game. Interesting story. Guy played quarterback in high school, running back in junior college, and now he's playing wide receiver and kick returner at Central Missouri. So obviously he's got a lot of talent, a lot of speed, and a guy that could really bust the game open for you as a kick returner and a wide receiver this week.
Yes, and one of the things I'm very happy about with Bobby too is he's really doing a good job of blocking him. Sometimes that's an area that receivers neglect from time to time, but we've got a really good group of blocking wide receivers, and Bobby can do a lot of things for us with reverses and fly sweeps. He can run vertical down the field. He can catch tunnel screens and break those for long gainers, and he does an excellent job in the kickoff return game as well.
Boy, I like your team as well at the running back position heading into this game. 3 different guys getting a lot of carries in Stewart, Hubbard, and Gower, and that's great when you're taking the pounding in the MIAA.
You're exactly right. That's something we haven't had the last couple of years, and all 3 of those guys bring something a little bit different to the table, but the thing I like about all 3 of them is they can catch the ball, they can run with the ball when you hand it off to them, and they also are very good blockers.
Congrats on the 2-0 start. Best of luck this week.
Thank you, Sean.
Coming up next on Sports Page, we'll get to know Mules senior wide receiver and kick returner Bobby Guillory. And our spotlight on the Vallejo, California product is next on the Central